I'm Chris Holman, so I'll be your MC today. And the reason I'm your MC is because I'm also the owner of the Michigan Business Network, and it's really hard to fire the owner. So here I am. Now, we realize, and we get this through a lot of your feedback, that when we were meeting in person, the most important thing that happened here was often the networking. And so we welcome you to take this opportunity to virtually network before we get started. Now, after that, we will hear from our guest speaker, and we have allocated time at the end of the discussion for you to ask some questions as well. We have a good percentage of our guests that are registered for this webinar, and many more that are watching us live on the website and also on Facebook live. So we know we will have a very healthy audience that will be picking us up on our website at a later time. COVID has inadvertently helped us reach an even larger audience than normal. Now, if you lose your connection at any time during this event, then you must rejoin using the same unique link that you had to join initially. As a reminder, the Zoom meeting ID, if you want to come in through Zoom, which is another way to do this, is 870-3459-3693. That's the meeting ID. One more time, 870-3459-3693. And the passcode is 935395. 935395. So that's a good way to come back in. So now we're going to put you in your chat rooms, and this is a great opportunity to meet new people. If there's someone in your chat room that you haven't met before, get to know them. Let's talk a little bit about what they do, etc. And if you wind up in a chat room with a bunch of old friends, this will give you an opportunity to catch up as well. So we will be back. You will be doing the breakout networking till about 11:44. So we'll be back at that time. So here we go into the chat rooms. All right. So welcome back. I hope that was satisfying. I saw Karen Greneman on the in the audience today, and it's not the same as doing it at the U Club, but it is a second best. I appreciate you all getting in those chat rooms, getting to know each other. Now, here's some important housekeeping. If you want to ask a question today, please post your question during the discussion in the chat on Zoom or email Michelle at MichiganBusinessNetwork.com. So you can actually go back to the chat that's in your upper right-hand corner and post a question there, or you can email it to Michelle at MichiganBusinessNetwork.com. We'll get them either way, and then we'll get them answered as time allows. And if we can't get to your question, we'll do the best we can to get it answered later and get that answer to you. So as we all know, these events don't happen without our sponsors, right? So we want to acknowledge them and thank them for being here with us and supporting us and this whole business sports luncheon. First of all, the Lansing Sports Authority, thank you. LEAP, Lansing Economic Area Partnership. Cinnaire, Shaheen Chevrolet, MSU International Business Center, Broad College of Business, Kettering University, TriStar Trust, Dean Transportation, Fly Lansing, and of course our own Lansing Regional International Airport, and WLNS TV6. So we want to thank all of those sponsors. Now, as is our tradition for the speaker series, we're going to go around the room to leaders of our community. And here's a set of pre-recorded videos that we've gathered for this event's community roundtable. So once again, a reminder, if you lose your connection to this webinar, please follow your original link. Go back to the email, follow your original link, or the Zoom meeting ID is 870-3459-3693, and the passcode is 935395. So first up, let's start with Jade Sims. She is a trade specialist at the Michigan State University International Business Center. Jade?
So right now, I'm pleased to announce we are celebrating 30 years as a National Resource Center. It was back in 1990 that the US Congress actually created these centers around the United States. And we have the mandate to make US business more competitive internationally. So we do that with working with our faculty and students, as well as faculty and students all over the United States, as well as reaching out to businesses. So we recently did a program with the US-China Business Council, and we actually have 2 more programs coming up associated with China in November. So on November 10th, there will be a program, and we will partner with the US-China Council on Relations. And then again on Friday, November 13th, we will host a panel discussing the future of US-China relations. Not sure if we're going to have an elected president at that point in time, but hopefully we will, and we'll be able to talk about what things are going to look like moving forward. In addition, we also have 1 more program that's coming up the week just after Thanksgiving. So starting on November 30th, we will be doing a whole series of programs training US business on exporting. So if you're a small business in Michigan, or especially in the mid-Michigan area, and you're interested in participating in that training program starting on November 30th, please reach out to us and we'd love to sign you up and have you participate in that. So that's some of what we've got going on. I appreciate your time.
Well, Jade, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate all that you do out there at MSU and your support over the years. Next up, of course, is Jason Cords. He's the General Manager, Executive Manager at Shaheen Chevrolet. Jason, what's going on?
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me on. And yes, Shaheen Chevrolet and Cadillac now. So we're proud owners of the Cadillac facility here in Lansing. And now even moved it on our Shaheen Chevrolet campus at 650 American Road. And it's been a process and a project, but we're here and live. And I'll tell you, and just happy to be working, and all along they considered us essential, so we were never shut down, but it was very lean here at one point. So
well, congratulations on that, and especially on the acquisition of the Cadillac franchise. That is awesome stuff for mid-Michigan.
Yeah, thank you. And in the Chevrolet store has been moving right along. We're just still waiting for inventory to come in. It seems like as quick as it's coming in, we're selling it. But used cars are picking back up and getting quite a few of those back on the lot. Service, quick lube, everything. We've been steady right along, and fortunate that of just really staying strict on our social distancing and our mask and sanitizing. And when a service car comes in, we sanitize it before we get in it. Our technician then feels comfortable about working on it. And then we clean it, and then we sanitize it before we return it. So it's just these extra little processes that we have to do to make everybody comfortable, but it's working for us. So
Jason Cords, General Manager, Executive Manager at Shaheen Chevrolet, Cadillac, and who knows what's around the corner. And thanks for pointing out that if we follow the rules, we can achieve a lot of stuff. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris, for having me.
Next up, Bob Trezise. Of course, we all know him as the president and the CEO of the Lansing Economic Area Partnership. And Bob, I'm going to turn it over to you with trust. All right? What's going on in the community?
I mean, this is a better scenario for you than ever, Chris, because you can hit a mute button. I mean, it's, I will be quick, but it is very exciting. Thank you once again, and hello to everybody, all our friends, our LEAP members. Thank you for continuing to support economic development. We don't want to churn a lost year or a lost year or two into a lost decade. So we need to be very focused on LEAP and our economic development partnerships together. So thank you again to all our LEAP members. But what exciting news. I mean, think about this week alone, Chris. I mean, we got, McLaren Hospital has announced their increased investment of their new hospital, $601 million. Of course, Sparrow just announced their $40 million, great, very important project on Michigan Avenue. And I think it's only the start of even more investment from Sparrow once again. You have the Red Cedar project, which is $250 million project, well underway. Pat Gillespie, the new city market has opened in downtown Lansing on Michigan Avenue, the Meyer Urban Grocery Store, and that is phenomenal. You have MSU Federal Credit Union announcing their 6-story building in downtown East Lansing. You have a $100 million investment by General Motors, the largest one in the state of Michigan, in their plant in Delta Township. You have the Glambia project up in St. John's that will be ramping up this week. Its operations is beginning. So, I mean, my gosh, during these really difficult times, Chris, a lot is going on. And let me just add that, you know, WEEP has a hand in all of that, but we've also morphed to a small business agency in a weird way over the last 6 months. And we just completed distributing $5.3 million to 412 small businesses across the 3-county area. 65% of all that money went to underrepresented population business owners, minorities, women, veterans, persons with disability. And in the last 6 months, that figure from WEEP is $7 million to nearly 700 small businesses. So we keep at it, we persevere, and we're going to build better than ever, Chris.
You know, Bob, you do such great work, and I want to compliment you. I also saw, and this is not a political statement, but Alyssa Slotkin has a commercial with Sager from Mobius. And if you remember, we had them in my office, and that's when you decided to finance them to keep them going. Well,
during the last crisis, the Great Recession, this guy named Sagar Chef, introduced by you, Chris, had great technology and a lot of business acumen about him. And the Lansing EDC took a big chance and did a $50,000 non-collateral loan. And it's really paid off. We have a great high-tech manufacturer to this day in Mobius Technologies.
Well, that's all part of the great work.
I hope you're doing a lot more of that right now. Yep.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much. Of course,
Bob, keep up the great work.
Yeah, you too. President and CEO of LEAP, the Lansing Economic Area Partnership. All right, next up is Megan Ziemer. She's Associate Director at the Sports Authority here in Lansing, one of those groups that brings a lot of people in the area. They drop some bucks. We're all happy and see some great sporting events in the meantime. Megan, what's going on in your corner?
Well, we appreciate the opportunity to update you guys on everything that we have going on. Like everyone else, 2020 has been a very interesting and challenging year, but we're excited to share that the past few weeks have brought some exciting news for the sports industry here in our region. Events have started back up. We're happy to announce that hockey's returned to the community, and we have some hockey events taking place over the next couple weeks at Suburban Ice and the Summit. As well, we recently wrapped up a very successful site visit for the USA Judo Junior Nationals, and we're really hoping for an exciting announcement, formal announcement to come on that here soon. As well, Greater Lansing has recently been awarded the 2022 and 2024 National Junior College Athletic Association's Men's and Women's Bowling Championships, which will be held at Royal Scott over those 2 years. So we're super excited about that. We're also, planning's underway for the 2022 National Horseshoe Pitchers Association World Tournament, which will be held in July of 2022 at the Summit Sports and Ice Complex. All of these events are brand new events for the community, which is really an exciting win in of itself. And last but not least, hopefully most of you guys have heard, but NCAA recently announced the over 450 regional and national championship host cities for events being held in 2021 through 2026. And we couldn't be more excited to share that Greater Lansing was awarded 8 NCAA events over those next 6 years, which is the most events that any community in the state of Michigan was awarded during this bid cycle. But we're excited to announce that we will be serving as hosts for the 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25 National Collegiate Women's Bowling Regional at Royal Scott. We will also be hosting the 2022 NCAA Division III Men's and Women's Cross Country Championships at Forest Acres. Both of those events will be in partnership with Olivet College and the MIAA. And then also we will be hosting the 2023 NCAA Division I Men's Golf Regional at Eagle Eye. So crazy times going on in 2020, but we're really excited to announce that we're seeing brighter days ahead of us here in Greater Lansing. We've got some exciting events, brand new events that have never been hosted in our community, and we're super excited to share with everyone.
Megan Ziemer, Associate Director at the Sports Authority here in Lansing. Next time, I'm going to ask you to name the things we're not hosting. That should shorten it. Nice work.
Thank you very much, and thanks so much for having us.
All right, thanks, Megan. All right, next up is Tim Damon, of course, President and CEO of the Lansing Regional Chamber of Commerce. And Tim, you guys are always in the middle of it. What are you in the middle of now?
Yeah, well, thank you, Chris. Appreciate the opportunity today. You know what, we're doing our best to still stay connected to business community and our members. And most recent survey highlights some of the top priorities, which include the jobs and economy, which is no surprise, that was clearly number one. But regional infrastructure, talent and workforce development, healthcare, and regulatory climate continue to be kind of the top priorities and what we're hearing from our business leaders here in the region. And here's a number that's a little bit of concern. Again, not surprising, but 80% of our respondents are anticipating moderate to significant impacts to their business in 2021. So I think a lot of that tells us, and things that we're continuing to watch, that we may not know downstream some of the impacts and results of the COVID, the pandemic, and the impact on a number of our small businesses, in particular as we get into 2021. On a positive note here, you know what, we celebrated recently the ribbon cutting and grand opening of the Coleman Road extension. That's in the northern tier of East Lansing, something that's been on the wish list, I think, for our region for about 20 years. And we finally were able to get that done through securing a $7 million in infrastructure investment for that road. And that will connect from West Road to Wood Road, going underneath 127. And you think about that financial services sector in that northern tier of East Lansing, this infrastructure investment is certainly significant for that. And then also to support further economic development opportunities in that part of our region. Recent state policy successes that we were supporting and providing a voice for our region here includes restoring $28 million in the Going Pro Talent Fund, as well as some bipartisan support recently for COVID-19 business liability protections. And then there's $14 million for some broadband funding to expand rural internet access. So look for some more information on that. But three key pieces that we were intricately involved with a number of other chambers and groups around the state. Speaking of which, we signed on to several letters recently encouraging stronger bipartisan support and cooperation at the state level with our elected leaders, and really kind of framing it around the protecting lives and livelihoods. And some of that we believe businesses need some clarity and consistency and transparency in decisions that are happening at the state level. I think all industries should be allowed to reopen and open with proper safety protocols. Going forward, be precise on how they're controlling outbreaks, and also too to continue to utilize best practices in ways to protect our citizens. And so those are coming from a group of 8 regional chambers, and that's really the kind of the key piece of that particular letter. And then last thing, Chris, the Relaunch Greater Lansing Task Force continues to move forward in providing resources for employers and employees as we continue to navigate and define whatever that new normal might be as a result of COVID. Some of the resources include the resource guide, a new relaunch website that was launched recently, a symptoms checker tool. So for businesses that are bringing employees back, a great way to put those protocols in place. And that was developed by the Ingham County Health Department. And then the Safe Pledge campaign, which the Convention and Visitors Bureau developed. More than 150 businesses have signed on to that pledge so far. And we certainly would encourage everyone, part of today's program to do the same thing as well. And you can find more information at relaunchgreaterlansing.com. And so those are a few of the things that are happening in our organization and throughout the region. And again, it doesn't happen without, great regional partnerships, and we've got many of those. And so I guess the last thing I'll say is thanks, Chris, and go green.
Yeah, go green, absolutely. We're going to be seeing some of that real soon. That's perfect. So Tim, congratulations on Coleman Road, and keep on that broadband. That's going to make a huge difference in the future. Tim Damon, President and CEO of the Lansing Regional Chamber of Commerce. And next up, of course, Ben Bakken, Senior Vice President, Market Director at TriStar Trust Bank. What's going on with you guys?
Oh, all kinds of good stuff, Chris. It's great. It's great to see you virtually. I wish we were all in the same room together, and really excited to hear from Bill Beekman today. Of course, 5 days ago, Michigan State played their first game, but I'm recording this before that game. So, Bill, I don't know if I should be congratulating you on a great win or saying better luck next time. But anyway, we're excited to start to see some signs of normalcy. At TriStar, things are actually going very well. We're very fortunate this year. We've had a tremendous amount of growth, added some great new team members. And we're really excited that we are celebrating our 20th year in business here coming up next month. So while we're excited for TriStar, I'm really proud of this community. And I wanted to share up here from one of my favorite quotes. My 9-year-old daughter, Clara, made this for me. Unless we all care a whole awful lot. Nothing is going to get better. It's not. That's from the LORAC. So we're all doing our part to do a little bit that we can do to make this community better. And I'm really proud to be a part of it, Chris.
God, great message, and keep up that growth pattern too, Ben. We need that.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, Ben Bakken, Senior Vice President and Market Director for TriStar Trust Bank. Next up, as we move around the room, Patrick Dean, Vice President at Dean Transportation. Patrick, how are things in your world?
Hey, thanks, Chris. Thanks for allowing us to be part of this. We're doing really well. We've been really proud of our team throughout the state. Here, we're back up and running in a number of school districts throughout the state of Michigan and successfully showing that we can run student transportation as we all kind of navigate this new world with COVID-19. But our team is proud of what they've done. We've done some industry leading things such as treating our vehicles with an antimicrobial and developed some industry leading technology to really help support getting kids back to school. We've also been proud to implement some new procedures for our chartered bus business as we get more and more groups that are traveling throughout the state of Michigan. So we are excited to get Michigan back traveling, get our travel and tourism economy back up and running, and do everything we can to support that effort. So we're wheels rolling, and we're ready to transport anybody when they're ready, willing, and it's safe to do so.
Well, you know, a big piece of this action is what you just talked on, and that's when it's safe, and that means when you restore confidence. I just want to tell everybody that there were a lot of companies that wanted to come in and sanitize your buses, and you guys said, nope, that's not good enough. We're gonna do our own method, which I thought was really cool.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're very proud of the method we have. A combination of disinfectant and an antimicrobial, kind of industry leading to take the highest approach to safety to help support everybody as we navigate this new future we're in.
Well, what you're doing is exactly what businesses should be doing, and that is building it to last. You're doing a great job. Patrick, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here. Patrick Dean, Vice President of Dean Transportation. All right, next on the floor, Mark McDaniel, CEO at Cinnaire. And Mark, you guys do wonderful work. What's happening in your world right now?
Well, things have settled out with ever since we sent everybody home back in March, and now we're starting to have to really think hard about what's this all going to mean going forward, because we don't know how long it's going to last. So we didn't have like a mandatory return to the office on this date. We actually have left it open, like whenever you feel safe, whenever that is, you can come back. Now, I think the reality is we, as business owners, we've got to start thinking about the impact of the culture, of this on the culture of your organization. And I think it's serious. I think we've spent 27 years building a culture of this, working together, a team, all, passionate about a mission of doing good work. And when you're not together doing that, you're seeing, you're not having that personal connection of, that's how passion is driven too, by being with other humans. And not having that, I think, is going to have a long-term effect on our business, just who we are. And I can't let that happen. I've invested 27 years into this.
Yeah.
And the culture was everything to me. And I've had a couple of employees said, this has been really great for me because I've been able to be home, experience being home with my kids, help my wife with the kids. I'm relating to my kids as a father or as a mother and all this. And I don't feel that connection to the passion I had for the work that we did at Cinnaire. And he said, I wonder how many other people feel that way. Yeah. Well, I think it's real. And from a business standpoint, that you grow something based on a cultural belief, I mean, that's pretty serious stuff that I think we all need to be thinking about.
I got to tell you, thank you for not only that update, but for sharing that, because these are some of the issues we're all contending with. And will we come back to the same organization we had before? And I appreciate you sharing that as always. And we all appreciate the great work you do. Mark McDaniel, CEO of Cinnaire. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Anytime. Thank you.
And then last but certainly not least, someone who brings money into the area. People dump it and we get to keep it. They go home and hopefully have a good experience. and come back. Julie Pinkston, who is the CEO and president of the Greater Lansing Convention Visitors Bureau. And Julie, so not much happening right now, I would think. Are you guys like taking turns napping down there or what?
I wish. You know, our industry is definitely one that has not had any comeback to speak of yet. We did get pretty low with our hotel occupancy, and which is one of our key measurements for the tourism and hospitality industry. But we have crawled out of that and are stuck at about a 45% occupancy, which gives us something that it's climbed back up, but it's certainly not something that we can, you know, now go out and really bring back a lot of our staff and do what we need to do. But we'll get there somehow when people are able to gather and travel and do things. So in the meantime, our staff has been extremely busy with just trying to new things, promoting our members, which are restaurants, hotels, all the attractions in the ways that they're being creative and the way that they're coming to the table to do new things. We have hotels offering day rates. So if anybody's looking to get out of your house from your kids and virtual school, we can hook you up with a day rate at one of our hotels to do even job interviewing and different things like that. So everyone's being really creative and really working hard to keep our industry going forward, and looking forward to some MSU football that might add a little bit of at least enthusiasm and energy for our region and make us think about the Go Green, Go White days that are before us in the future.
Well, that's a timely little report with Bill Beekman here, and we're going to get to him in just a second. Julie Pinkston, the Executive Director and President of the Greater Lansing Convention Visitors Bureau. Thanks, and keep up the good work. You're doing a great job.
Great, thank you.
All right.
Take care.
All right, well, thank you, Julie, and thanks, of course, to all of our sponsors and leaders from our community and being part of that roundtable. So kind of interesting, you heard me allude to Bill Beekman. Well, interestingly enough, less than 24 hours ago, we got notice that he was called into a meeting with the Board of Regents at MSU and was not going to be able to speak. Well, that sounds like a travesty. And of course, we were disappointed, but we are very fortunate that we found a substitute speaker. And I think you'll all be incredibly pleased. And so here to introduce that speaker today is WLNS Sports Director, and I would call her the Dean of Sports, but she's far too young, so we'll call her the Queen of Sports for today, Audrey Dahlgren. Audrey?
Well, hi, Chris. Hi, everyone. Wow, that is quite the compliment. So thank you for that. But I'm very happy to be here. I know that we all were expecting to kind of be in the same place, but with COVID and everything that's going on nowadays, that's not possible. But very happy to be here and introduce this next speaker, someone that I've grown to know very well over the last couple of years. And I think that I'm not just saying this because I may need an interview from him later on down in the road or at some point, but I do think that if anybody knows about what it's like to fight through adversity, especially over the last couple of years, it is Michigan State men's basketball coach Tom Izzo. Last year was already, maybe for him, you could say that his unprecedented times may have started last year, just based upon the fact of everything that happened with Cassius Winston and his family, and then Xavier Tillman and his wife welcoming another baby into the world. And then also with Joshua Langford getting injured. So they went on, to win their third Big Ten title in 3 years. And so, yeah, I think that if anybody can speak to fighting through adversity in the times that we're going through now, it is Michigan State men's basketball coach. And he's doing this for a record third time speaking at this luncheon or with everybody today. He did it in 2007, 2017, and 2020. So Tom, on that note, you can take it from here.
Well, thanks, Audrey and Chris and all of you. The only reason I'm doing this is I'm hoping someone will hire me for my next job. So, you business people are important to all of us. And it is an incredible time right now. I sit here and I think that I'm on Zoom calls all day long with the NCAA, the Coaches Association. I'm on an ad hoc committee. And today we had all the Big Ten coaches on, and we're trying to figure out, what happened at Wisconsin really sends a chill through everybody on what's going to go on. So, where's our program at right now? We got everybody healthy. We got everybody practicing. We've had 11 full practices. Today's an off day, so it's kind of nice. We tried to change our arena a little bit. We've believe it or not, put in some some games upstairs here. We're trying to get the players out of their apartments. We're worried about the mental health. And it was interesting listening to a couple of speakers talking about, you know, what's it like when people go home, work from home. Hell, I worked from home for 3 months and found myself in my garage. I got kicked out of the house, you know. Chris, I don't think your wife would want you in there that long either, so don't be laughing at me. But I think that, in all honesty, these unprecedented times are probably harder on the 15, 10, 20-year-olds than even us. I mean, we're supposed to be able to adjust. Can you think about going to college? Everybody looks forward to going to college, being a freshman, get away from mom and dad, get to school. And I'm looking out the window, I hardly see a body moving. You know, there's our guys in apartments. And other than that, there's not a lot of people here. So that part's been interesting to deal with. So we've tried to come up with some things like, you know, little ping pong, little pool. We're putting in a little race games, a little arcade stuff, just to try to get them out of their rooms. We've made our own little study hall area here where they can go on Zoom and with their professors, their tutors, again, trying to get them out of their rooms. So some people want to be home. We're trying to get them out of there. So it's not a laissez-faire atmosphere. As far as the COVID goes, you know, you saw what happened at Wisconsin. If you're watching anything, Florida had 37 football players. The Wisconsin thing was interesting in talking to them today. It was the roommate of the quarterback. So even though we're testing every day at 7:30 in the morning, I come in and get tested. So I'm getting tested for the next 5 straight months. And 15 minutes later, I get the thumbs up from somebody, hoping I don't get a thumbs down. But that's what we do every day. Every player does it. From there, they go to breakfast. From there, the players go to some kind of Zoom calls with their profs or with their tutors. Do that till around 1 o'clock. Most part then, they're free for a little bit. Practice from 3 to 5:30. Eat dinner, and then sometimes have meetings at night. So that's kind of their world right now. We're trying to keep them away from everything. And as far as the state of basketball here, you know, I think it's at an all-time high. I really do. I think we have the facilities. We've had the support. We have the community support. Recruiting's gone pretty well. We've won 3 Big Ten championships in a row, as Audrey says. I thought last year we could make one of those magical runs again. We're in the Final Four in 19. You know, it's hard to believe that we've been to 8 Final Fours in the last 24 years. And that's more than Duke, Kentucky, any of them. It never seems that way, I think, because we can't win another one. I don't know why, but must be bad assistant coaches. It's never the head coach. Remember that if you're owning a company, it's always the assistants, as Judd would say. And I think I'm going to blame it on mine. But the truth of the matter is, if we keep knocking on the door's going to open again. And I think that's the big key. You know, you got to keep knocking at the door. And there's only been 2 times, I think, where there's been a 4-time Big Ten champ. I think Indiana was 1, and we were 1 back in 2098 to 2001. So we're going to try to do something. We got a good team, and yet we're picked 4th in the league. And the other day, one of the top rankings came out. I think you had 6 teams in the Big Ten in the top 25. So maybe you won't be here in person as much, but you're going to be able to have a hell of a time on TV because that schedule is going to be brutal. We don't know our total schedule yet, but Duke and Virginia are almost for sure on it. Possibility of Notre Dame, just because we're trying to stay geographic. So I've talked long enough. Ask me some questions so I can have some fun. For you business people, how's it going, man? Are we getting through the COVID? Remember, you got to rely on people like me and Chris. I got to rely on people a lot younger than Audrey. So my problems are a lot bigger than your problems, I promise you. And, you know, I'm worried about every girlfriend. I'm worried about every buddy, you know, a friend of theirs. I mean, it just takes one person and we're shut down. And that's maybe one other thing I should talk about before you ask some questions. the Big Ten has put in this mandate of 21 days, we're out. Most schools, the CDC is 10 days. So if one of our guys gets it, like the football player at Wisconsin, I mean, he's more or less going to miss 3 weeks. And that's a long time. So if you or I get sick, you know, it's hopefully 10 days and we're back working. But for an athlete, because of heart monitoring and a couple other things, the presidents have decided it's 21 days only in our conference. So if we play a school from the ACC or the Big East or the SEC, their rules can be different than ours. And be aware of that as you hopefully follow the Spartans. And I will say the last thing, you know, I'm a big football fan, as everybody knows, and I got a chance to go and speak to our football team yesterday. It was pretty exciting. Anytime on the Michigan State week, you get to talk to it. There's nothing like football. I mean, I love my locker room. I love my meeting rooms. I love the practice court. But when you get there with 100 football players in a building, that's worth speaking to. So I enjoyed that. And I want to remind everybody, you know, just how funny things work. But I've heard a lot of people say, well, you know, Mel's done this and Shiano, you know, was a new coach at Rutgers, but they hired Shiano in December. You know, we got Mel hired at the end of February, didn't even get his staff together. I went up and saw his wife at the game and she says, I haven't even met all the wives on the staff. So it's been a completely different animal, not to make excuses, but to give you a little dose of reality. And so the thing is, if some of you are bored, go for a walk on campus and wave to me at my window, because I'm bored not looking at anybody right now. I'm sick of looking at my guys. I love looking out over this beautiful campus when 50,000 students are walking around. But that hasn't been that way since last March. So it's been different.
Well, Tom, listen, thanks so much for filling in. This is so wonderful.
Anytime.
I did notice your highlight film in the back. This is kind of like a Van Dyke painting where he always had a window and something happening, you know? So it was mostly football highlights. So, kind of interesting. I do have a number of questions, but let me start. Let me take the MC's prerogative here. What will be the effect on your kids of not having that crowd response in the arena?
Wow. You know, I did go to the football game, wore my mask and everything, but I did go over to the football game. There was about 500 people in there. You know, they let the parents of the players, the families, and the opposing players, and that was about it. It was the most surreal thing you've ever seen. You know, I think our people did a good job. I mean, we're working with people on how we can put an Izzo in there. We're working with some guys on how we can get crowd noise, how we can get, you know, music. I'm a little concerned because sometimes I have a tendency to talk to my players. And if it's that quiet in there, I don't want you guys back home hearing what I'm saying to them. So that's a problem too. You know, my wife says I got to clean up my language. Good luck, you know.
Yeah.
But I really believe that it's going to have an effect. And, you know, I used the NBA. We've taken some highlights from the NBA when it showed LeBron over there cheerleading it. We're going to have to make our own energy for a while, you know, and we're going to have to bring our own passion a little bit. It'll be really interesting because that 10th, 11th, 15th man on the bench now becomes important because he's going to have to bring something. I think it's going to help the camaraderie of our group. But man, it's going to be strange to say the least. And hopefully, I'm hoping that as we go and we get through this tough second stage here, we can get to where we can get 20% people in there and then maybe grow it as it goes. The advantage of basketball is it's later. The disadvantage of basketball is we're indoors compared to football being outdoors.
You know,
Good question, Chris.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. I wrote that last night. So this question from people listening in: what's the protocol if a team member or a staff member contract the virus, and will the team play or not play? And, you know, we've seen this as late as the World Series.
Yeah.
6th game of the World Series, you know.
Right now, the way it is we kind of have 30 people on our tier 1 group. It's the coaches, the players, the video guys, the academic girl, everybody who touches a player every day. And those 30 people, if 3 of them get the virus, we're all locked up. 3 of them. In football, I think it's 7 or 8. So that's one issue. But because we everyday test, if one of our players has it and the others are testing every day negative, they can continue to practice and play. We just take that one guy, we put him in quarantine for 21 days. I think we put him in quarantine for 10. Then he's allowed to move back in. The hotel here is the quarantine spot. And that's where athletes will go if they're being quarantined. So we still should be able to play the games that way, but that is the worry. You know, Wisconsin shut down.
Yeah.
We're hoping to expand our schedule a little bit, where in basketball, where you really could play 2 games in a row, we don't have to lose a game like football did.
Yeah.
You know, Wisconsin's not going to make that game up. We're hoping we can make games up. The goal for us is to play in the NCAA tournament. And the reason, since you're all business people, is pretty simple. The bowl games are run by outside entities, you know, the Tostitos Bowl, the Rose Bowl. The NCAA tournament is run by the NCAA. They make 98%, I think $900 million a year off the NCAA tournament. So the schools need football to play for the TV benefits. The NCAA needs basketball to play along with the schools. So somehow, I think if they pick 4 teams at the end, I think there'll be an NCAA tournament. It could be in a bubble like football if everything went to hell. But I think for sure we'll play the tournament. In between there, I really don't know. It's, you know, this thing was a monkey wrench, Wisconsin. We thought we had things under control, and it shows that the virus has no prejudice. It hits anywhere, anybody, anytime.
Well, at least we know they were all at the President Trump's fundraiser. Okay, sorry. All right, let's talk about the athletic budget, because we know that's taken a few lumps, right? How is that impacting your program?
Well, what they've asked us to do, and I think Bill's done a good job, the president, I mean, you can only imagine as it's been printed out, it could be 50, 60, 70 million dollars if certain sports. If football and basketball don't play, you know, I'm eating at your house. And so tell your wife to saddle up. A lot of spaghetti, please. But if football and basketball don't play, you know, full seasons, there's going to be some significant hits. But as much money as we make for the school, it's this much compared to football. I mean, football is such a monster. And that's why, you know, every day when I went over there yesterday, I just kept reminding them, wear your mask, stay safe. You know, we need you playing. And so I think that is a major issue. And it's the money. What we're doing is we'll probably try to bust a few places. We're trying to make sure we don't waste money. You know, we've unfortunately cut a sport. There's been some people laid off for a while. We've all taken cuts in pay. Those things, you know, is what you got to do during this time. And everybody's in the same boat. And maybe, you know, after the 3rd, maybe somehow we can put the politics away, which I think will help even the virus, to be very honest, in my UP humble opinion. But hopefully we'll get everybody on the same page. You know, I said this when I talked about the racial issues and all that. You know, locker rooms are great places. There's never those kinds of problems in a locker room. I mean, never. You know, when we go to war, I got a guy on my staff that is a Naval Academy veteran, and there's never those issues when you go to war. When 9/11 came, nobody cared who was white, who was black, who was rich, who was poor. You know, it sure would be good if our country got back to that. So that's my political standing. Don't write me in for president because I have no interest in politics, but I do think we got to all get back on the same page.
So if drafted, you will not serve. Is that correct? Hey, by the way, my wife will be glad to have a nice guy in the house. So you could. This question came in early. Can you develop another superstar like Cassius every few years? Or is that just looking for a unicorn?
Well, we got a couple. I mean, Cassius was a special guy because he had such a high basketball IQ. We got a kid named Joey Hauser right now who sat out last year, who I think at 6, 8, or 9 is a very intelligent player. I think in all honesty, we've seen a lot of growth in Aaron Henry, Those two guys, and Gabe Brown's been better. Foster Lawyer's been better, but we've got a unique team. We've got a lot of really good players, maybe not an elite player, although Cassius was an elite player until last year. He was just a good player. Look at Xavier. He hardly played as a freshman, a little more as a sophomore, has a hell of a junior year, and he leaves me. So I think we got some guys that can step up, Chris, and I think we're going to have a really good team. It's going to be a balanced team. It's going to be a fun team to watch. I think we'll be more athletic, more exciting. I think we'll be a better shooting team, even though we lose Cassius, who was phenomenal. But Cash and Xavier are doing well too. I should bring them up. They just had their NBA workout at the Pistons place that was filmed, and it goes to all the NBA teams since there's no in-person stuff. So the draft is November 18th. We'll keep our fingers crossed for those two guys. Maybe they'll do well and help buy a business in East Lansing that will prosper this group we're in, huh?
There you go. And hire us.
They're hiring me first. Yeah. I'm part of the retirement program.
You have more good qualities, so you're going to get hired first. Hey, how do you recruit during this COVID-19? That's got to be a challenge.
You're looking at it. It's Zoom calls. We put in more cameras. We've done some things around here to have better Zoom calls, and it's been interesting. For a guy, I always said they just got computers in the UP a few years ago, so I never knew how to even use one. So I've had to really upgrade myself. And our recruiting, I can't talk about specifics, but we had a pretty good recruiting year. I said, man, it does well when I don't go in the house. If I just stay on film, maybe I'm better than I am when I go to the house, because we had a lot of good things that happened to us so far this year.
Yeah.
But it is difficult. You don't get that relationship. You don't get to spend time with the parents and everybody. So I missed that part, but I will say this, like listening to a couple of your speakers, I've actually been home more. I can't leave. I can't go anywhere. So I spend more time in the office and maybe getting things done that way. And we've done a really good job, my staff, with the Zoom calls. You got to be a little more innovative. I'm sure in business too, right? You got to be a lot more innovative in what you do and how you present yourself. And so far it's worked for us. Hopefully it does for you.
Well, you've had a heck of a recruiting year. And by the way, we got PPP money. You did not. So we have a little advantage there, right?
Yeah.
What is it you're most looking forward to this basketball season?
I talk to our players every day, and I can talk to each and every one of you too. You know what I'm looking forward to? The seeing, as Audrey said, how we handle adversity. It's been a rough 3-4 years around here, if I was to be very blunt and honest with you. In some way, somehow, some way, we won 3 Big Ten championships and we went to a Final Four. And I look at that. I heard Magic talking about the Lakers winning, and he said, this will be the greatest championship. And I kind of said to myself, God, I thought some of his were good, or Michael Jordan's or Larry Bird's. Why is this the greatest? Because they had to overcome the most adversity. Staying focused on the task at hand for all of us is going to take great effort, great discipline, great accountability. It's going to take great togetherness. I mean, every one of us, you're in a business, I'm in a business. I keep saying, you work with guys like me, I work with 20-year-olds. So I'm still giving myself an advantage over how difficult it is than you. But if you had to deal with the Chris Holmans of the world, that would be difficult too. So I can sympathize with all of you in some way, shape, or form. But I'm really looking forward to seeing every day I talk about who's going to go this way and who's going to go this way, because it's going to happen. Some people are not going to be able to handle this and they're going to fail. And some people are going to take advantage of this and find a way to fight through it. And we're going to succeed. And that's my battle cry every day, Chris. And I think it would be a good one for all of us. You know, you can feel sorry for yourself, you know, but nobody cares.
Yeah.
You can be upset. Nobody cares. I mean, there's a bottom line in both of our lines of work. And that's at the end of the day, are you a plus or are you minus? Is, you know, my column's the left column or the right column. And your column is the red column or the black column. And it's always the same, you know, we've got to find a way to be successful. And it's not going to do any good to complain about it because nobody cares.
All right, so this one's pretty deep, but it has slipped past the noon hour, so I think you're prepared. How are you feeling about your life goals and where you're moving in that direction?
Boy, that is deep. You know, I had a daughter who got married. We were expecting to have 500-600 people at the wedding. We had 10.
Yeah.
Adjustment, you know, big adjustment, a lot of tears, not by me, a cheaper wedding. But, you know, for the most part, you know, that's a new phase of my life. In fact, I just signed off on her now. So she's off the scholarship program, you know, but they say that they're never off it. So I guess I'm going to learn that. But my life goals, you know, it's really interesting, you know, with Antonio retiring, him and I spent a lot of time together, you know, and months ago, we went to the game together. That was a strange feeling for him. John Beeline sent him a really nice text, you know, thinking of you today. It's a tough day. I know the first day I was gone, it was a tough day. So it helps me prepare for someday when I get out of here. But I'm not like the new millennials or the whatever they call them, where I think about just today, but I don't look, you know, 20 years down the road. I think I got some good years left here. I want to get this place back where it was. I want to make sure that, you know, I'm looking over at a brand new hockey facility here. I'm looking over at Mel's place, and I think he's going to do a great job here. I'm excited about the immediate future here. And that's kind of where I'm placing all my goals, you know. For Loopy and I, we've been here a long time. You know, I got my son, Steven, here. It's been kind of fun having him around. Just somebody to, you know, when I tell a player, you know, you got to do a better job in school. And I look at Steven standing there and I say, do I tell you the same stuff all the time? He says, yeah. I said, great. I see that we're almost out of time. Is that what you're pointing to?
No, I was pointing, my guy back there is supposed to keep track of time for me.
Yeah, well, we're having fun. Who cares about time? I don't have practice today.
No, that's exactly right.
But
So,
I mean, that would be my, you know, right now I'm looking at the next 3 to 4 years to say, how can we get everything back in order here? How can we make this the safest, greatest university in the country, and find a way to win that second national championship, the third for the school?
well, I got to tell you, I just had a comment come through, and I think I wanted to expound on this. And the comment was this: even in the worst of times, Coach, you remain positive, enthusiastic, focused, inspirational. Man, are we lucky to have your leadership, and especially now. And I gotta chime into that because it's a great comment. I have known you probably way longer than either one of us want to admit. And I remember when, you know, Judd was, as you know, always very difficult to work with. And I remember calling over to the staff and saying, look, Judd's a little cranky, especially in the morning. Give me some enthusiastic young guy from the staff who will do these bit. And it was you. And I gotta tell everybody out there, in all the years I've known you, you haven't changed from a perception of your self-importance. You have kept Uper in your blood, and I got to tell you how much people appreciate that. You are a good human being, and that goes a hell of a long way, Tom. And
well, for me, Chris, that's the best compliment you could give me. I mean, I did have a great mentor in Judd. I mean, if your ego, I mean, he told you to put it at the door, but he kind of said it in different words, like stick it in a place where the sun doesn't shine, you know? Yeah. And I kind of grew up that way. You know, my dad was the same way. I had mentors like George Perlis here and different people like that. And, you know, I think that's what our country's got to get back to. You know, when I talk about different issues, you know, really, there's only a couple things I really look forward to is let's treat everybody the same and everybody equal, and let's hold everybody accountable. And that's kind of the way I was brought up. That was kind of the way I learned it. But Judd also said, don't forget, you're not as important as you think you are. The program's more important to you. The university is more important to you. The state is more important to you. There's a lot of things more important. When I was working for Judd, everything was more important than me. So, I mean, I understood that perfectly, but I do appreciate the compliment because, you know, my world has changed. You know, I'm not changing, taking heels off shoes or laying carpeting like I was, you know, 35, 40 years ago. It's a different job. It's brought different money. It's brought different fame. It's brought different things, but I appreciate where I came from. And that's why I call Michigan State a blue collar institution, because I think there's a lot of great people here that, you know, don't have big egos. That's why I love East Lansing and the Lansing area. I just appreciate where I'm at. I've had chances to go to some incredible places, but I don't know, man. I couldn't see people like all of you. I couldn't go to a football game on a Saturday if I went to the NBA. You know, what fun would that be? I get to do some pretty cool things. I think I'm a blessed guy too. And Judd always said a good deal is one that's a good deal for you and a good deal for me. Well, Michigan State has been a good deal, the Lansing area for me and my family. And I think I try to be a good deal for them. And that's kind of the way I'm living it.
Well, you have been, buddy, and we appreciate that. Probably one last question, and that is, you have a little insight on things. Is there anything you share? What happened with the coach at Penn State?
Yeah, you know, I don't know everything. In fact, I just got his new number and tried to call him this morning. You know, there's situations that happen. I mean, I don't know. They brought up something that he made a racial comment. There were other people that said he did some things around the university where he ticked some people off. I don't know. It's if I did know, I'd tell you, or I tell you I know, but I can't tell you because I hate people that kind of, you know, do it the other way. So I don't know. It's sad. You know, right now, I think coaches are under a lot of pressure. It seems like right now the 18 to 22-year-olds are ruling the world. And I have a problem with that. You know, I think there's a process. I mean, I think we should give respect to everybody, but I don't know. I don't agree with some things that are happening in that respect either, as far as kids having so much say. I mean, I always look at it, if you were so smart as an 18 or 20 or 22-year-old, why do you got to be 36 to be the president? Of course, sometimes guys that are 36 and older are immature too. I know I'm going to get hit by that, but it's an interesting question, you know. And I think what we've done in our world is we've tried to skip the process. You know, I was a GA. I learned how to work for $4,000 a year. I was 28, 29 doing that. You know, hopefully most of you, I think being a GA, I was the academic person. I was the strength and conditioning guy. You know, I was a recruiter. I kind of all aspects. When you get into business, if you skip the process, you don't appreciate the people that are down in the basement, probably doing most of the work for you. And that's, you know, what I've always looked at here. Like, I love my trainers. I love my academic girl. I love her because I had to do that job. It's a pain in the area. And so I'm just, you know, I think it's difficult right now. You know, we see coaches getting fired. Sometimes new leaders just want to get rid of people, want their own people in there. We've been kind of blessed around here. You know, for me, Gus Ganakis and Judd Heathcote, who we were all in the same boat. It's been 50 some years. So if you people are sick of me, I don't blame you, but it's Judd and Gus's fault. They had a lot of those years too. But to think that 3 people, I mean, Gus was my radio guy till year before he died, you know, and Judd went, you know, 20 years. And I went, it's 26 now, and Gus had 8. You know, in football, we've had a few more changes, but it's good. Mel's a guy that was here, you know, back in the Nick Saban days, and worked with Mark D'Antonio back then. You know, I think consistency has something to do with success. And sometimes I think people come in and want the new, you know, grass isn't always greener on the other side. Watch what you wish for, as they say. And I think sometimes we think new is better and change is better. I sure did answer a short question in a long way. I don't know what the hell he did, but he did something wrong. And but sometimes guys aren't doing something wrong, and you know they're getting nailed. I mean, here's a year where this guy could have gone to the NCAA tournament, probably had his best team. And you know, here's a day last Friday night. If you watch the Wisconsin game, this young quarterback has a Heisman Trophy day, big win, national TV. 2 days later, you know, the world takes a turn. Those who can adjust to those kinds of situations, which is business people, you know, I'm worried what I went through. I can't even imagine what you've gone through. In fact, I got more respect for you than I do me. I mean, I haven't had to coach since last March. Now I'm preparing my team. Hopefully I'll have a season. The business world and making money is every day. And somehow you've navigated through that. So a hat goes off to you guys as we close up here, Chris. And thank you for what you've done. Thank you for the job you've done. Thank you for trying to keep as many people employed as you can. And if you ever come walking by campus, I got windows and they're not one-way glass. Give me a wave. I'm bored. I don't know what to do. I'm sure I'm going to see Audrey in a little bit. I think I got a press conference today. So I'd rather see you people than sometimes the media. No insult, Audrey, but you know, you guys can be at times. But I hope all of you, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, you get through this. If you've lost somebody because of the COVID, you know, God bless. Keep everybody safe. Don't believe in everything you read. Just kind of hunker down and stay safe. Let's get through this together and become a better, stronger city, business area. And cheer for your Spartans to win another championship, because I'm going to work my tail off to see if we can do that.
Well, you're a good man. And thank you so much in responding. I mean, here's a guy who schedules his bathroom breaks. And you wound up with 45 minutes that you could donate to us. And we appreciate that piece of you, buddy. We do.
It was a good cause. I appreciate you having me. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you later, all right? Good luck.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. Take care. All right. Thank you, Tom. What a great delivery, and what a great individual. I mean, he really has been so good, far beyond basketball for our area. Again, I just want to say thanks, Audrey, for coming in, jumping in, and doing the intro. These events, of course, don't happen. Audrey, did you want to make a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to say real quick, I really appreciate it. And also too, as Coach Izzo mentioned, we do have a press conference at 12:45. So
watch at 6.
So if you don't mind, I'm going to hop off the call as well, so that I can join that one. But
we go to work.
I hope everyone has an excellent day, and stay positive, stay safe, and we'll see you all soon.
All right. Thanks, Audrey. Appreciate that. Okay. Again, these events don't happen without sponsors, and you know, we're talking about the Lansing Sports Authority. We're talking about LEAP, Lansing Economic Area Partnership. We are also talking about Cinnaire, Shaheen Chevrolet, the MSU International Business Center, Broad College of Business, Kettering University, TriStar Trust, Dean Transportation, Fly Lansing, our good friends at the Lansing Region International Airport, and WLNS TV6. So our next virtual event is going to be on Thursday, December 10th, and we'll be having the Lansing stop of the statewide economic forecast series. So we hope you can join us for that. Thank you to the MBN team for pulling today's speaker and event together. Mike Steibel, Wade Tong, Jeffrey Mosier, and Michelle Koss. And finally, thank you all for being part of our inaugural virtual speaker series event. If you want to go back and watch any of this or care to share it with your business associates, please visit us at michiganbusinessnetwork.com. It's all there. And so until next time, have a very prosperous month. Thanks for being with us.